We had to come back for the part 2. Let me turn this camera around. Alright. What up? Alright. Had to come back for the part 2. Just set this down. See if we can get a good view here. Alright. What up? We were just watching part 1. Yeah, part 1 is dope. Hold on. Let me make sure y'all can see me. There we go. Alright. I felt this was of significant importance to do a part 2 to finish it up. I didn't get to finish up part 1 like I wanted to. The battery ran out. A lot be going on, so I felt the need to finish it up and make it solid. Make it whole, make it fruitful so that you can benefit from it. So, if you haven't saw part 1, you can watch it after this or go watch that one first and come back and watch this one, however you want to do it, right? Okay. Now I want to dedicate the part 2 to specifically I would say those of us who have a harder life, those of us who may be trying to do great things but face massive adversity, catastrophic adversity. Whether it be poverty, whether it be, not having connections, things of that nature. I wanted to make this as clear as possible for those who consider themselves messiahs of this time. So I want to give this message directly to you. I want to speak directly to you, the hard knock life children. And just give a blueprint to establish some type of blueprint, to establish some type of foundation. And, just do my part. Just doing my part. Okay. Now, I want to speak about this from the context of you have nothing. So let's just say all you have is a determined idea, right? All you have is a determined idea. You may not have any money. You may not have any friends. You may not be cool with your family. You may not literally have anything or any resources that you think is required for you to be successful in life and to make it to the places that you desire to go and be the person you desire to be. So let's just say you have absolutely nothing. Because a lot of people send me emails and I like to answer them publicly as opposed to answering them individually. Sometimes I just create a video so that everybody can receive the answer, because there's always more people who may have the same questions, who may be in the same situations, and who may need answers. So I answer the questions on a collective level. Now, from the perspective of you're a person that has absolutely nothing but a determined idea and faith, which I spoke about in part 1. Determined idea and faith, that's all you have. Now, let's take it through the mathematics, right? First and foremost, you have to gather facts. You have to gather information. You have to know exactly whatever field you choose. You have to know exactly what you're getting into. For example, if you want to be a musician, it's not enough to be talented. You have to learn the business. So in this example would be the music industry. It's not enough to know how to rap. It's not enough to know how to sing. It's not enough to know how to play an instrument. It's not enough to have, this desire to be famous or whatever it is. It's not enough. because at the end of the day, you're going to be doing business with other people, companies, and corporations. And it's going to be through those connections that people start to discover and come into the awareness of who and what you are. So from the perspective of you having nothing, peace, peace, peace. From the perspective of you having nothing, the first thing you must do is gather information on your chosen field. So if you have nothing, what do you have access to? You have access to the internet and you have access to the library. No matter where you are and what city you in, you have a library, and every library has access to the internet, whether it's through the Wi-Fi or the computers there. And every library has books so that you can study your chosen field if you have no money. So if you have no money, you have access to a library. You have to use your public resources, right? Because most people don't do that. And this is what I'm saying. You have millions of people that want to be famous. You have millions of people that want to be bigger than what they are, but they don't know anything about business. All they know is, I know how to create. They know how to create, but they don't know how to conduct proper business. If you cannot read a contract, you should not be signing a contract. If you don't understand the figures of a contract, you should not sign a contract. However, most people just being desperate and most people not understanding the game will sign anything just to get that upfront money. This is how it works. They will prefer to give you more upfront money so that they make more money in the long term. That's why they don't mind giving you $100,000, $500,000, $1 million. All these people who, $1 million deals, whatever, signing these 360 deals because they own everything. You know what I mean? Work hard every day. You got to do more than work hard. You got to do more than just grind. See, this is what I'm saying. Everybody says you got to grind, you got to grind. You got to use your mind too. You got to know how to conduct business because eventually you're going to have to sit at a table with a group of people and express yourself and paint the picture of your vision that's inside of you so that other people can understand and comprehend it. At some point, it's going to go outside of you and you're going to have to speak to people and you're going to have to paint the picture vividly as possible so that people buy into who and what you are beyond just you sitting in your house creating beats or writing raps or recording music. Eventually, business, and especially big business, if you're trying to do big things, you're going to have to learn how to conduct business. But in order to learn how to conduct business, you must learn how business works. So, for example, all my musicians out there, because this the reason why I use music as an example, because a lot of people are striving to get into the music, so that's why I use it as an example, but a general example, but this can be applied to whatever field of your choice. So for one, you have to first know how to do whatever it is that you're doing, know how to do it well. That's the creative side. The creative side is knowing how to do what you do and knowing how to do it well. On the business side, you have to learn what exactly is all these figures on these contracts. What is publishing? You have to know what publishing is. You have to know exactly how they break everything down so that when you are looking at the contract, you can understand exactly why they are giving you these contracts. Most contracts are standard. Most contracts are pre-made, meaning these are the same contracts they give everybody unless they have a special interest in you. Also, the key to business is negotiation. You have to know how to negotiate. Peace. You have to know how to negotiate. So even if they give you a pre-made contract, you have to know how to negotiate the contract if it's figures there that you may not agree with. But you have to learn how to read the contract to even know if there are figures there that you don't agree with. Then you have to negotiate. Can we switch this around? Can we switch this and switch that? I take less money up front so that I can get more money in the long term. Right? So that's from a perspective of you have people coming to you. So let's just say you want to do your own thing. Let's just say you want to start your own business. Let's just say you're a business-minded person and you think like this naturally. You're a natural hustler. You're somebody who's a natural talent. You have no resources. You have to learn how to sell yourself. For example, if you go to a library every day, there's going to be other people at the library coming in and out, coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. This gives you an opportunity. People like to hang around libraries as well. This gives you an opportunity to meet people. This is the thing. If you know nobody, you have no connections, you have to form new connections. How do you form new connections? You have to go to places where people go to gather information. So it's not enough to just be walking down the street and just talk to people walking down the street. You want to go to places where people have similar interests. So if you understand that you're at a library, somebody's coming there to learn something, to gather some type of information. So let's just say you talk to 10 people. And you ask them, what are you here to learn? What are you currently studying? Some people may be in middle school. Some people may be in high school. Some people may be in college. Some people may own a business. You never really know what exactly they may be into until you speak to them. Now, you may not want to speak to kids because they may not know. So let's just say college and, adulthood. We just leave it 18 plus. You don't want to get caught up with no bullshit. So you're talking to people that's coming and going. So out of the 10 people that you spoke to, you're going to get 10 different perspectives of what people are studying on that current day. And you're going to see people every day, especially if you travel around and you go to different types of, you can say, I'll put it this way. You don't want to get stagnant in a certain scenario. What do I mean by that? Let's just say you are going to the library. Go to different libraries. Don't go to the same library. Go to a different library every day. But this is a person that has nothing. So if you have nothing, you must be traveling at all times. What do I mean by that? Let's just say you may have somewhere to lay your head. You may have somebody who feeds you. Or you may not. You may be homeless with nothing. So if you have absolutely nothing, you must travel. Don't get used to being in no hood or no particular side of town. You must travel your whole city. You have all the time in the world. For all the people who took the leap of faith and they felt, okay, it's time for me to get out of corporate America and do my own thing, whether you did it a calculated leap of faith or you just went off of intuition, now you have to work harder in terms of physically harder because now everything is on you. You don't have a steady paycheck anymore. You don't have nobody telling you what to do. Now you are your own boss. Now you are your own leader. Now, whether you succeed or fail is strictly determined upon you and the work you put in. So what do you have to do? You have to travel your whole city. Use this as an opportunity because now you have free time. You don't have to be anywhere at a particular time anymore. So now you have free time. So for all the people that don't know their city, it's places you've never been, it's people you never met. This is your opportunity to start networking. Because now you have all the time in the world. You have all the time in the world to travel your whole city, every single spot in your city. You should know your city like the back of your hand. You should have a visual image of your city in your mind, implanted in your mind because you have traveled your entire city. I'm not saying you got to travel every single block, but you at least have traveled every single main road, top to bottom, east to west. Now, why would you do that? Because you want to feel the different vibrations of different aspects of the city. You want to go to the good places and you want to go to the bad places and everything in between. You want to see exactly what does my city have to offer me. And if I feel personally that what I'm trying to do is not something that I can do in this particular city, then at that point, you have to understand maybe you need to travel even further beyond your city. See, that's the thing. Each city is specifically catered to something. You have cities that's more musically inclined, whereas you have other cities that are not so much. You know, for example, you can say like Atlanta. If you move to Atlanta or you move to California or LA, places that have record companies and all this stuff, it'll be a little bit more easier to connect with people who's trying to do the exact same thing you're doing, as opposed to if you're somewhere where music doesn't really matter too much. People come to perform, but maybe not no record labels. It's not really too much going on. So if it's not too much going on, now you have to create opportunity yourself. And it may not be in a particular city you're in, or it may be, but you have to see for yourself. You can't take nobody else's word for it. That's why you must travel. You must see exactly what your city has to offer you personally. So you have to access your public resources. Start it from scratch. Access your public resources and start gathering facts. So in the daytime, you may be in the library reading your books or on the internet doing whatever it is you're doing. Then at night, you travel around. Go to places you've never been and you see. Because there's just certain things that you would not have known if you wasn't traveling around. So you have to see, okay, at certain particular times, there may be certain spots in your city that's popping at a particular time that you may have known nothing about. It may be certain gatherings, let's just say 8 p.m., a large group of people gather at particular spots around the city. You have to find the hot spots. I talked about this a couple videos back. I believe the video was called Realism 101. Realism 101, where you have to travel and see where the hot spots are in your city. And even if you already know where the hot spots are, you have to find more. See, when you are in survival mode, because you can say, all right, you may not have no money in your pocket, you may not know where your next meal is coming from. Now you're in survival mode, you have to protect your life. So a lot of times when people are in this position, they panic. They begin to feel fear really, really intensely for the first time. Like the first time you moved out, the first time you traveled, whatever the case may be. You're going to feel that, but you have to digest it. Because when you feeling that emotion, you don't want it to stagnate you. You don't want it to paralyze you. You don't want to be like somebody else begging on the corner. You don't want to beg for anything. You must take it. Or in other words, you must manipulate your way into having it. What do I mean? As I said, you're going to be meeting new people every single day. So this is the thing. When you are an entrepreneur, this is pretty much the stuff you do anyway. As an entrepreneur, this is what you do anyway. You network. You meet people, you network, you exchange ideas, you exchange numbers, you do business with people, right? So this is what you should be doing anyway as an entrepreneur. But for somebody who just exits out corporate America, who may not have been doing this, I'll lay out the blueprint. So every single day, you're studying, you're accumulating information. Every day you're traveling to new places. Every day you're meeting new people. So after about 7 days of doing that, you have established a network at this point. Let's just say every day you met maybe 2, 3 people, 5 people, just depending on you can meet as many people as you want. So let's just say after 7 days, you have about 50 people's numbers. You have 50 numbers in your phone that you didn't have the week before. You have 50 new numbers in your phone or with various people that do various things. You now have a network that you didn't have before. You have established a network just by opening yourself up to people. So it's not necessarily you coming up to people or going to people and saying, yo, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Who are you? You offer yourself. This is what I do. This is who I am. You explain what you have going on, what your talent is, where you're trying to go, your mindset and all that. You give of yourself first. Because you don't really expect people to, especially if they may not be entrepreneurs, they may be entrepreneurs. So you don't want to really make people feel uncomfortable. But you want to offer yourself. Offer yourself. Now you have 50 new connects. You have 50 new connects now. Now, out of those 50 connections, you may have 5 people with similar interests. Out of those 50, you may meet 5 people with similar interests. Of those 5 people with similar interests, it may be 1 or 2 that feel as strongly as you do. So we didn't slim down. You went from 50 to 5 to maybe 1 or 2 that take things as seriously as you do. So out of those 1 or 2 that take things as seriously as you do, you want to offer who and what you are. You want to offer your skill set to them. So for example, let's just say, again, you're an artist. You write music. Let's just say you met somebody who has a studio, whether it's a home studio or they have a connection to a studio. So now you say, okay, let's work. Let's network. Let's work, right? So you offer yourself. You offer a piece of yourself to them and what they have going on. So that, if you study the 48 laws of power, you know what I'm talking about. Where you don't want to appeal to somebody's mercy. You want to appeal to their self-interest. What does that mean? You don't want to make people feel bad for you. You don't want to say, oh man, I'm fucked up. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. You don't want to even come with that energy. You want to come with something that appeals to their self-interest. Let me help you. Not can you help me. It's not about can you help me. It's let me help you. Oh, you do music too? Let me give you a verse. Let me show you how dope I am. Because if you really have the skill set that you claim that you have, doing music with this person is going to lead to somebody else. And that's going to lead to somebody else. That's going to lead to somebody else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Your talent will help you travel, or your words will start to travel for you, in other words. In other words, your words start to work for you. Because if they appreciate what you have to offer, they're going to share what you have to offer. And again, that's just a week. Let's just say you do it for a month. So you meet 50 people a week. After a month, 200 people. And you may, out of those 200 people, it may be less than 10 people who really take you seriously. And out of those 10 people that take you seriously, if you give yourself to those 10 people, your network of people that you have established, and you continue to network, and again, you don't stop because now you can't stop. You're in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, there really is no room for you to stop. Like, these are things that you must do if you're really trying to survive. Now, you have to discipline yourself. For example, you may be used to eating whenever you want to eat, doing whatever you want to do, flicking on the TV, YouTube, and whatever at your leisure. Now, you may be on the streets. You may be living with somebody else. You may be sleeping on the couch. You don't really have the luxury of doing things like you used to. So that means you're going to be very, very uncomfortable, but it's going to put a desire within your heart that wasn't there before, because now you know that you must succeed at all costs. There is no, maybe I should do it, maybe I shouldn't, because people start to get set in their ways. When you get used to that paycheck coming in, you're not as determined because you have security now. You have established a certain level of security. So you really don't have to do it if you don't want to. If you don't want to follow your mission, if you don't want to fulfill your purpose, you really don't have to, because your rent is still going to be paid. You're still going to eat at the end of the day. So it really doesn't stop anything. But when you don't have that option, when it's pimp or die, or be a musician and die, or whatever it is, where you really don't have another option, there is no plan B. Because again, that's what society says, right? Society says, if plan A doesn't work, go to plan B. There is no plan B for the Messiah seed. If you are a regular motherfucker, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, because you're not obligated to do anything special. You can go work whatever job, you can do whatever you want to do. See, all that you can be anything you want to be, that's for regular people. That's not for the Messiah seed. That's not for the indigo child. That's not for the rainbow child. You already are something. There is no I can be whatever I want to be. You already are something, and you must fulfill your contract, if you can even understand what that means. So there is no plan B. It's either you do what you came here to do, or you just not. There's no other path to take. You must succeed at all fucking costs, even if it's to get to your next meal, right? Hold on, let me move this notification out the way, right? You must succeed at all costs. Now, you may be thinking I'm talking about fame or money. I'm not talking about neither one of those things. What I'm talking about is establishing a network. Because this is the thing. Because people say, okay, well, why am I giving of myself to these 10 people and I'm not really receiving any monetary gain from that? I'm not getting paid from that. Like, why? Like, what is this doing? How is this helping me get from point A to point B? What it's doing is you are establishing a network of people who have a similar interest. You have to do this first before you start making money and generating income. It's not going to happen overnight. This process may take years. This may take years. Are you willing to make the sacrifice? That's the question you must ask yourself. Are you willing to make the sacrifice? If it takes 5 years, like I said in part 1, are you willing to work hard and use your mind for 5 years and struggle for 5 years before you receive any substantial paycheck? Do you really want it that bad to the point where you are willing to die? I don't think you're ready for that. And I say that because we are in times where that type of person really doesn't exist anymore. That type of person with that type of drive. And the people that do have that type of drive, is like it was forced upon them. So that's the thing. When you look at a 50 Cent or a Floyd Mayweather or anybody of that stature, anybody of that status, they would not have been who they are without adversity. Will 50 Cent be 50 Cent if he didn't get shot? Will Floyd Mayweather be Floyd Mayweather if he didn't have to grow up in the type of circumstances he had to grow up in? No, they wouldn't. So many times that killer instinct was activated because they had no other choice. Not because, hey, I just want to be a rapper, or I just want to be a boxer because this is just what I like. This is just something I think I can do. No, this must work. There is nothing else for me to do here. There is no plan B. There is no other option. I must do this. That's it. You have no other choice but to do exactly what you're here to do. When you are a Messiah seed, you have this same type of mentality. You may take a little 9 to 5 to make ends meet. Nothing wrong with that. You may, do little odd jobs and, just to keep money in your pocket, do what you got to do. Nothing wrong with that. But you understand that you have a purpose and there is no plan B. There is no, okay, let me just fuck plan A. I'm comfortable with this job. I'm getting by. I'm cool. Whatever. No, there is no. If you put that down, your soul dies. You're not alive anymore. You die. You may physically be here, but your soul is dead. Just look around at all the soulless people out here. Look around at all the soulless people out here just doing things to make ends meet. But they're not doing what's in their heart. They're not living their dream. What does it mean to live out your dream? What is a dream? And why are you having that dream? Did you place that dream there or was it already in you? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Did you place the thought in your mind or was it already there? You have to ask yourself that. Whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, are you doing it because you feel, oh, this is something I can do? Or is it there because it won't leave your mind? There's a difference. There's a difference between something that won't leave your mind and something that you put in your mind because you feel, oh, I like doing this. Yeah, I can do this. I can give this a shot. Is it in there? Does it burn in your soul? Is this the same thing that you think about when you wake up? The same thing that you think about when you sleep? The same thing that you're thinking about every moment of the day? You're just obsessed. You have an obsession with this? Or is it just something you're doing because you think it's cool because you see other people doing it? That's the difference. If it's just some cool shit, some shit that you just, it's just some cool, it's cool to do. Nah, it ain't for you. You need to figure out what's in your mind that won't leave. Something that was chosen for you. I'll say it like that. You can say it's your soul. It's what your soul chose for you, not what your circumstances chose for you. What do I mean by that? A lot of people nowadays get into certain fields because they see other people successful at that field and they want to be a part of that success, right? Even though they have no fucking talent. They don't have no true talent. They may have talent, but they may not have true talent. What I mean by true talent is it's on them physically, but it's not in them spiritually. It has to be in you spiritually for you to succeed. It has to be within you. It can't just be some shit that you wear on you and you take off at the end of the day. That's what a job is. A job isn't in your soul. A job is something a coat that you put on and you take off at the end of the day. That's what a job is. You put the coat on for 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, sometimes 24 hours. And you take the motherfucker off when you're done. But when we're talking about the soul, this shit doesn't come off. It doesn't go anywhere. This is going with you no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. You can't take this off. You can't extract it from your heart. You can pretend to. What most people do, you can pretend like you don't have a soul mission or a purpose. But it doesn't go anywhere. That's why people have midlife crisis. A midlife crisis is caused from you were supposed to be doing something else, motherfucker. What happened? That's a midlife crisis. You come to the conclusion that you was supposed to be doing something else, but you got sidetracked based off of your circumstances or what was going on around you, or whatever the situation may have been. You have to cultivate your soul. We are here to cultivate our soul. We're not here to cultivate money, to generate money just to say I got it, just to flash it. We're not here for that. Let the weirdos do that shit. Let the empty-minded people do that shit. Let the people who don't know who they are do that shit. Because once you step into the ring, they are no match against you because you are really what you say you are. And it is not a fucking game for you. For example, just compare an underground artist compared to a mainstream artist. An underground artist who's still hungry, who hasn't really achieved super success. They may be, they have enough success to sustain themselves, but they may not be on a super caliber level. If that motherfucker had an opportunity to be in that person's shoes, it would be a completely different story. However, we understand that we're in the matrix. We understand that certain images are placed before you to make you think differently. Certain images are placed in your face to make you think that this is how the thing is supposed to be done. If I want to do this, I have to act like everybody else acts. I have to do what everybody else is doing because this is what you have to do, which is not the case. You have to create from within. You have to be original. When you are original, you're not mimicking somebody else. For example, let's just say with hip hop, you feel like in order for me to be successful, I gotta rap like everybody else rap. I gotta rap like the Migos. Because that's just what people are drawn to, that fast rap. I gotta rap fast like a guitar, like I'm playing a guitar in my mouth. I have to have that style if I'm trying to be successful. That's how the average person thinks. I have to sound a certain way. I have to have a certain look. I have to wear Versace, Saint Laurent, Gucci, Fendi, Prada. I have to have a certain type of crafted image to fit in with everybody else because this is how you become successful, or this is the symbols of success. I have to have the Rolex. I have to have the diamond chains. I have to look like everybody else to be successful, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. You have to be original because you may be the ones to start a new trend, whatever that trend is, however your original style is. See, this is what's going to draw people to you. No matter what field you're in, it's because you are original. You're not just on the bandwagon trying to mimic everybody else, trying to be Tupac #2, trying to be Migos #14. You are yourself. And people appreciate originality because it's the most rarest thing on the planet. You need me to drop an album? The reason why I don't really go too hard with the music, especially on this channel, is because I feel like people aren't necessarily ready for that just yet. And what I mean by that is because I am what I say I am. I am original, because you can just look at the work that I already have on my page and it doesn't sound like anything you've heard before. Because I'm original. The subject matter, the flow, all that is original. So I have to cultivate my originality. It's not really something that I'm just going to put out there, because it doesn't, for me, it doesn't work. Like, it's not something that I can just generate just instantly, just right off the top of my head, and it has no substance. My creative process takes a while because it's coming from within. I have to be inspired. And sometimes that takes a little time. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. This is more so for the people, who are trying to find their way, or who may have a way, but you may not have connected all the dots. And I'm just here to connect the dots for you. Now, what are we talking about for mentality? Mentality. So now that we have established, you have to be original. You cannot mimic nobody else. You cannot follow nobody else's blueprint. You have to create your own blueprint, and you have to be original. That is the only way to be successful. And I'm not even going to say successful. I'm going to say long-term success, because you have one-hit wonders. You have people who have came and went just as quick as they came. There's people that was hot in 2016 that's not hot now. Never even heard about these motherfuckers no more. Where they go? Where's all the people that was hot last year? Where they at? There's a couple people still around. But there's a lot of people who had big hits. You don't hear about them no more. What happened to them? Because they signed a bad fucking contract and they got caught up. This is what happens. The reason why, you may have the one-hit wonders and all that, because it's like, okay, well, Don't these people still do music? You know what's going on? Like, okay, you may have had you may have had a hit, or you something, you was on top of the world for a minute, but it's like, where they go? It's because they signed a bad contract and they can no longer even use their own name. That's what happened, because you sign a bad contract, or you get dropped from a label because you didn't perform as expected. Now you're in debt. Now you owe them, because let's just say they invested $1 million into you. They invested an M, and you only made, let's just say, 200K. You owe them 800K. Where is that going to come from if they drop you? If they drop you from the label, you're in debt. Way more debt that you was in before you even got the record deal. Now what happens? Now, because you still owe them, nobody else wants to do business with you. Because like I said before, they all know each other. Business is personal. The people at the top tier of business, they know each other. You don't think all the record labels communicate with each other? They know each other. So, if one record label drops you, another record label isn't going to be so quick to pick you up. And like, oh, okay, yeah, let's come over here, let's do it. That's not going to readily happen, because you already owe money to somebody else. And they all know each other. They all sit down at a table, eat lunch, talk about business. They know each other. So what happens? Because people don't understand business, they end up fucking up their whole career, because they didn't understand business. They didn't know how to read a contract. They allowed the record label to dictate their pace. This is what happens. The record label supplies you with everything. You come in as yourself. You come in as yourself. What did it? Oh, I got the hiccup, sorry. They're going to supply you management. They're going to supply you lawyers. They're going to supply you accountants, the person that's looking over your money. All these things are courtesy of the record label. So if you just so happen to get dropped from the record label, all that leaves too. Because you didn't know the business, you don't know how to do any of this stuff by yourself. Because you didn't learn the business, once all those assets leave because you got dropped, you don't even know what's going on, because you were just in the studio creating tracks. You weren't concerned with business. You took that money up front. So like I was saying, they invested $1 million in you. Let's just say they gave you $100,000 up front. So of that $1 million, they gave you $100K up front. But in the long run, you signed over your publishing, and you signed, let's just say, a 360 deal where they get a chunk of everything you do, no matter if you're doing movies, shows, anything, merchandise, anything that has something to do with you, your name on it or your image on it, they're getting a percentage of it. Because in their mind, they say, well, I'm supplying you. I am the network. See, a record label serves as a network. I am a network. I have all the connections. So you're going to interact with my friends. I have friends who have stadiums that have, places that you can perform. These are all personal friends. They have a relationship with each other. So the record label, from the record label's perspective, they are supplying all of your connections. When they supply your connections, they feel, okay, well, you would not have these connections if it wasn't for me, so I'm going to take majority of your money, because you wouldn't even be making this money if it wasn't for my connections. So from that perspective, you can say, okay, most people are like, all right, well, I get it. Yeah, I wouldn't have this fame if it wasn't for the record label. I would just still be on the street somewhere. So, okay, cool, I understand. But what they don't realize is, in the long term, they can drop you and still be making money off of you because you signed over your publishing. They're still making money off of you. So that one hot track you had that still gets played every now and then, not to mention royalties. You sign over your publishing, you're not getting anything. So the song may still be in circulation somewhere because it may be a classic, it may be a hit. It's going to be played at some point. You're not getting any of that because you didn't read your contract. Peace, peace, peace. Now, going back to the core of the video, when you establish these connections, you're networking with people, you're offering yourself, you're being original because it's in you and it's not on you. This is something that's in your soul, not something that's in your head that you feel like you just will be good at this. It's something in your heart. It's something in your soul that will not go away no matter what you do. Now, at this point, you're networking with people, you're offering yourself, you're doing work, you're working, you're being active, you're being busy, you're traveling all around your city. You're doing new things every single day because now you have the time to do so. You are a full-time entrepreneur. When you are a full-time entrepreneur, this is just what you do. And it's enjoyable. You start to enjoy the process because you understand that you can meet anybody anywhere. It's no telling where you may meet somebody. You may meet somebody who's already in the record business, and you can establish a friendship with them, and they can connect you with. You never know who's connected to who, and this is what I mean by networking. It may not actually be the person you met. It may be somebody else they know, that help you along your path. You're not going to be able to do it on your own. That's why it's all about contracts, doing business, so that you can properly navigate. Now, going forward, 1 second to stretch, sitting on these fucking rocks, I like to be outside because it's vast. I showed y'all the 360 view. I just like to be out in the open air, especially, just allow the spirit to flow through. Now, as you are building your networks, you're building your connections, you're working, you're traveling, right? What's going on in your mind is this. You start to discipline yourself. What do I mean? You start to eat less, you start to drink less, you start to do less of the things that wasn't good for you anyway. You start to do less of everything because you have to pull back, because now you don't have the luxury of just having everything right in your face. So you start to gain discipline. One of the major factors that really hurts people is a lack of discipline. What do I mean by a lack of discipline? A lack of discipline is just not being able to control yourself when you know you should. What do I mean by that? For example, as I said, if you're comfortable, right, you know that you got a kitchen full of food at all times. So most of the time you're eating at all times, even if it's healthy. Even if you're eating fruits all day, every day, it may be healthy. But you still are eating all the fucking time because it's there. It's right in your face. You can't walk past the kitchen without getting hungry. However, when food is not in your face at all times, you tend not to think about it so much. You tend not to be on the root chakra level so much. You tend to elevate yourself naturally because you're not in a situation where you become stagnant, you become comfortable, you start to get set in your ways, you start to do less of what you know you should be doing. Now, we can take it up to the chakras. So I talked about the root chakra. You rise above the root chakra, you go into your creative chakra. See, you have to rise above the root chakra to even get into your creative mode. This is why I say, this is why you travel, this is why you network, and through the midst of all that, you're writing your rhymes, or you're perfecting your craft or your talent, whatever it is that you're doing. You're doing this at all times. So what this is doing, this is rising you above that Saturn, that root chakra level. You start to elevate, so that you start to access your Jupiter or your creative chakra, your sacral chakra, your sex chakra. You access your sacral chakra, and that starts to generate your creativity so that you can start to produce original works. You're not going to be able to produce original work still operating from the root chakra level because you're just blinded by everything that's in front of you. And again, a lot of people don't do this on purpose. It's just that it's there. Sometimes, let's just say if you go to work every day and they offer free coffee, they offer free cupcakes, they offer free this, free that, most of the time you're probably going to take it because it's there. Not necessarily because you're hungry, it's just because it's there. Peace, peace. So they understand this. Hey, if I put it in your face, most likely you're going to eat it. Even if you're not hungry, you're just going to take it because it's fucking there. Simple as that. So once you rise above the root chakra level and you start to access your creativity and you are able to produce original works, what's next? Then you move to the solar plexus, which gives you the courage, which gives you the drive, which gives you the willpower to execute all of your moves that you have been creating. So once you start to produce original works, whatever works they may be, you start to produce original works. You move to the solar plexus, so now that you gain the courage, because now it takes courage, to network, to walk up to strangers, to express yourself properly, to sit down amongst a group of people and, articulate yourself well. Those things take courage, it takes willpower, it takes determination where, like, I'm not accepting no for an answer. I'm not accepting no for an answer. That's the the solar plexus. The solar plexus give you that energy, but you're not going to have that determined idea if you don't have any works. You need works. You need to produce works. Once you produce those works, that's going to give you the confidence you need to network yourself. If you don't have a good product, you're not going to have any confidence behind what you're trying to sell to people. You're not going to have any confidence if you don't have original work, if you don't have good product. That's just like a person trying to sell weed and you got bad weed. You got bad weed trying to sell this shit. How confident are you going to be with bad weed trying to sell this shit? You know it's bad weed. It ain't even that you don't know. You know this is some bullshit. It's going to be hard to have confidence behind that bullshit. However, if you got some original weed or you got some shit straight from the earth, you fucking with the skunk. That's different. It puts you in a whole different mindset. Like, yo, I know I got the bomb shit. And I know it's not going to be no problem. Motherfucker just got to walk past me, smell that shit, and go ask, yo, I need a dub of that. I need a dime of that. I need an ounce. I need an O. I need a half O. I need a quarter. They go to, because they just can smell the shit on you. Like, yo, either you got it or you know somebody who got it. Meaning your advertisement is just smoking it or just walking past people. And then they're going like, yo, that shit. I need some of that. It's not going to be too hard to advertise yourself and to sell yourself when you know you fucking with some dope product. So, moving, to reiterate what I'm saying, getting off of the root chakra level because you start to discipline yourself, you take away the things that hold you back. You take yourself out of that environment, the things that keep you stagnant, the things that take your mind off of the thing that you're really trying to do. You start to discipline yourself. When you start to discipline yourself, you start to get more creative and you can produce original works. When you start to produce original works, it's going to give you the confidence to sell yourself and to network and to be confident behind everything that you're doing because you know you fucking with some bomb shit. What's the next part? The heart chakra. Now that you have the courage and the confidence to, get that shit off, let people know what you fucking with, you got the best shit on the block. It just is what it is. That opens up the heart chakra because now you understand, like, yo, me having the best work opens people up to me. What do I mean? When you have original work, people want to network with you. That's the heart chakra. People want to be around you, in your presence, around your space. What do I mean? Going back to the bad weed. You sell somebody some bad weed, you think you're going to get a call back? You think they're going to want your fucking number? No. But if they know you got the bomb shit, so not only are they going to buy from you that day, they're going to be calling you again because they can't find that shit nowhere else. right? They can't find it nowhere else. Like, yo, I don't know nobody else who's fucking with that. So you're going to make that sale that day, and you're going to be receiving a call back, and they're bringing their fucking friends. Their smoke buddies is going to want some shit too, because you fucking with some shit that's better than anybody else's, because it's original. Let's just say you grew the shit yourself. Or as a lyricist, they know that your 16 bars is immaculate. You can't get these 16 bars from anywhere else. It has to come from you. When you become the source, you're going to be getting those callbacks. You're going to be getting those phone calls. People are going to want to network with you. People are going to want to give you money. People are going to want to do business with you because you have a dope product. It becomes easier when you have an original work. When you know, yo, this is it right here. When you know you have that work, it's easy to network with people. It's easy to make sales. It's easy to say, okay, I know. You can build up a clientele because you got that work. Then you went from having nothing but good work, and now you have a bunch of people and a bunch of clientele, and now you're doing pretty good for yourself because you have a dope original product, and it isn't a miniature version of what somebody else is doing. It is completely original, and it cannot be found nowhere else on this planet. Right? What's the next level? Mercury, or the throat chakra. What's the throat chakra? Your creativity outside of yourself. See, your sacral chakra is your own personal creativity. The throat chakra is the creativity on a more universal level. It's a universal creativity, because now that you have got past the heart, you remember, your heart has to be lighter than a feather. You have to be pure heart. I guess I shouldn't have glanced over that. So before I even talk about the throat chakra, let me talk about being pure of heart. You have to be pure of heart. What do I mean by pure heart? That's what I mean by the shit really has to be in you, not on you. Because if it's on you, you're just doing it because it's cool. It has to really be in you. And it can't be to gain something in the end. What do I mean by that? For example, take knowledge or take wisdom. You must be learning knowledge and wisdom because you just purely want to know. It's not even really about what you can do with it. It's just you want to really know. What do I mean? Meaning, for example, you have some people that get into particular knowledge because of what they can get from it. They want to get into the law of attraction because, like, oh, I want to do something with my life. Let me get into this law of attraction. They already have an agenda that they already had in their mind, and they're just using that as a tool to achieve their agenda. You have to be pure of heart. There cannot be no agenda other than knowing for the sake of knowing. So what do I mean? That means it has to be in you, meaning you have to do it because this is just what you love to do, not because you're trying to achieve a goal. You have to love what you do because it's in you. If it's in you, you're going to love the process. So if you got to sit in front of a computer for 8 hours editing a music video or networking online doing your social media stuff, and that's something that doesn't tire you out. You can do that all day, and you can put in an extra 8 hours if necessary because that's just what you love to do. It's not going to be no problem because you purely want to do it just out of pure love. That's why, people like, hey, I do it for the love. It ain't about the money, it's for the love. That's what it means to be pure heart. You do it for the love, not for what it can give you. Do it for the love. And if you're not doing it for the love, if you're doing it for the money, if you're doing it for the fame, if you're doing it for any other reason just besides pure love, then you're going to have trouble. Because it's not in you, it's on you. You're doing it for what it can give you. You know what I mean? So, throat chakra. What is that? Now that you have pure love in your heart. And that's what I mean by you. That's how you know what you're supposed to do here. Just ask your heart. Ask your heart, what do I love to do and I don't mind doing, whether I'm getting paid or not? Just ask yourself that simple question and see what comes up. What do you enjoy doing, whether you're getting paid to do it or not? Meaning, what would you do for free? Meaning, you would do it even if there was no gold at the end of the tunnel or gold at the end of the rainbow. You would do it anyway. See, a lot of people couldn't answer that question. Like, would you still be pursuing the goal you're pursuing if it didn't guarantee you $1,000,000, if it didn't guarantee you fame and success and all these things? Would you do it even if it meant that you would pretty much only make enough to sustain yourself? You're not guaranteed millions and billions and fame and fortune. You're not guaranteed none of that. The only thing you're guaranteed is just to sustain yourself and doing it for the pure love of it. Would you still be able to do it? Would you still have the heart to do it? Would you still make the sacrifice to do it, knowing that you're not even going to get paid for it? Would you be doing free shows just for the love of it? Would you be giving free information just for the love of it? Not because you're trying to get followers, not because you're trying to get fame. You're doing it with a pure heart. When you have that pure heart, see, now that's the difference between the sacral chakra and the throat chakra. The sacral chakra is the lower chakras. It's one of the lower chakras. So at that point, you're just doing it for you. You're doing it for you when you're on the lower levels. Once you get past the heart, once you get past the heart and you start operating with the higher chakras, now you're doing it for the love. Now you got love. You're doing it for the love because this is what you love to do. So now when you start to do it out of pure love and not for personal satisfaction, you're doing it for pure love and you don't mind giving it to the world. You're giving your gift to the world out of pure love. That's when you activate your throat chakra, because you're doing it out of pure love. And that's what starts to draw people to you, because they can see and they can feel it because it's pure love. They can feel that pure love in your heart and it manifests through your words when it's pure love. You can't really speak with pure determination when it's not pure love. When it's just, oh, I'm just doing it just to get it. I got to get this money. I just got to do it. I got to do it. That's how motherfuckers sound. Oh, I just got to do it. Just talk to these motherfuckers. Go out and talk to these motherfuckers who trying to do anything and just see how they speak about what they're doing. If you're just, oh, man, I got to do this. I got to feed my family. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. Right? It ain't in their heart. If it's in their heart, they'll be able to talk for hours about whatever it is that they love to do. They can talk to you for hours and don't ask shit from you. You know what I mean? You ain't got to pay me. We can smoke some shit together. If that's whatever, we can have a conversation and we can network. I can give of myself freely and I don't feel no type of way about that. I don't feel like, man, I'm selling myself short. Why am I doing free verses? You may be the weed man or the weed girl. To build up your clientele, you may give out free dimes or free nickels. You may package up, let's just say you package up 50 nickels. You know you got the bomb shit though. So you like the $5 bags of weed is enough to roll a little joint or a blunt, whatever, give people samples. Hey, you smoke here, take this. Got your number on that shit here. Take this, take this, take this. You gave out to 50 people. Half those people call you back, now you got 25 people. Out of those 25 people, if one person brings a friend, or they recommend you to their friend, now you got 50 people again. It's easy as that. But the person who's all about greed is all about, I can't give out no free weed. Why the fuck would I do that? I'm not making no money. That's not getting me anything. They don't understand networking and contracts, and they don't understand you have to advertise your product. How the fuck is anybody supposed to know you selling weed if you're just going around, hey, I got this, I got this, I got that. You know what I mean? So, but, everybody's different. So let's move on from the throat chakra to the third eye. Now, what's that? You're doing it for the love, right? People can feel it in the vibration you emit when you speak. The love is coming from your throat chakra. Now, what does it have to do with your third eye? Now you can see clearly. What do I mean by that? Because the third eye is all about the moon. It's all about visions. It's all about being able to be creative visually, visual creativity. What do I mean? Your imagination, visual creativity. Now you have access to your imagination. For all the people that don't have no imagination, you're not going to be able to, you can't access. I got thrown off. I saw fucking cops. I had to prepare myself because I am in a field I'm not supposed to be in. But whatever. They don't even know how to get in here. Yeah, they gone. Excuse that. So, the people that have no imagination, they don't have any imagination because, again, they don't have no love in their heart, and you can't feel the love vibrate in their voice. So they don't have any imagination. They can't use their imagination. It's locked up. Their third eye is calcified, as that's what people like to say, right? It's not because of the fucking fluoride. It's because the love isn't pure. You get what I'm saying? It's not pure love. What calcifies the third eye more than fluoride is not having an imagination, an active imagination. And you're not going to have an imagination if you don't have a pure love for something. Because if you have a pure love for something, you will lay in the fucking bed and visualize for hours. And don't feel bad about it. You can visualize some shit for hours, all day if you needed to. You can just sit in your own mind and create a whole world in your own mind and never get bored because your imagination is that vivid. Your imagination has vividness because now your creativity can be used in your imagination. So you need the creativity from your sacral chakra to even be able to have access to your imagination in its full presence. And lastly, the crown chakra, which is being connected to your cosmic source. So you went from Saturn being connected to your roots, right? You connect with your roots, but eventually, just like the tree has roots, but the tree must rise up. The tree doesn't just stay on the roots, right? With the crown chakra gives you access to your cosmic origins. So the root chakra connects you with your earthly foundations, whereas the crown chakra connects you to your cosmic origin, where your soul is from, not where your body is from, where your soul comes from. So when you connect with where your soul is from, that's enlightenment or illumination that everybody's talking about. That is just being connected to your cosmic origins. You can go to any ancient religion, ancient system, and they all are connected to some type of star constellation, whether it's Sirius, whether it's Pleiades, so on and so forth. I ain't got to name all of them. That's why the stars come into play here. That's the crown chakra being illuminated because you have connection to your cosmic origins. Now, all that to say, shit, I've been on here an hour. It don't even seem like an hour. Fuck y'all let me be on here an hour. Alright. You know. So I'm not going to take up too much more of y'all time. You know what I mean? So hopefully that was educational. So for all my hustlers out there, for everybody who has a dream, everybody who has a pure love for something, use this information wisely. You know what I mean? And be successful. For the love. That's what it means to be connected to the universe. The universe gives freely, does it not? How much does the universe charge you for this knowledge? Right? How much money it costs for this universal knowledge? I didn't think so. This shit is free, right? But it requires time. It requires patience. It requires determination. It requires you to be committed to it no matter what. That's what the universe says. The universe don't say, give me $100. I'll teach you the game. I'll give you the game, give me $100. That's what people do. right? Right, somebody said compassion. Yeah, the universe is compassionate. So when you reflect the universe, which is what everybody says, right? When you become a reflection of the universe, you have certain principles and you have certain characteristics about yourself that reflects that. Fuck it, I'm compassionate. I'm being compassionate. I'm going to give of myself fully, not 25%, not 50, not 75%. I'm fully giving of myself because the universe did the same for me. Right? It's like people be talking about Jesus. Oh, Jesus fucking was compassionate to me. Jesus loves me. So I got to be like Jesus. I got to be like the Christ. The Christ is compassionate. The Christ died for my sins. All right? You know what I mean? Shout out to the fucking cross, right? But on a metaphysical level, it's the same thing. The cross just represents you. You're on the cross. Although the cross predates Christianity, so the cross has its own separate meaning, but when you see the body on the cross, that's us. You are willing to make that sacrifice to elevate yourself to the spiritual realm. You're willing to die to elevate. Ascension, right? You ascend on that third day of death, right? That's what it means. But we don't go through the physical death. We go through the metaphysical death. We go through the spiritual death. That's why I've been talking about death on my channel, right? All this death, the fires, the death, the flames, the death spirits, dead spirits, all that. So that you can ascend. That's what ascension, right? How to ascend to the fifth dimension, all right? If you didn't see the video, then, you know, just plug in the other video. Let me go over here. Let me see how much battery I got. All right. Talk for a little bit. Somebody said stay safe. You know, the cops can't even see me, for one. You see, I be in how many videos have I been in that field? All right? I'm not hiding. But when you righteous, you know, you don't have to deal with worldly shit like that. So I tell you, I don't recommend doing stupid shit. But I do recommend being righteous and not being afraid to do what's necessary. You know what I mean? Thank you for breaking down the chakras, no problem. It's a story. Just look at it as a story. Look at it as a story. Look at it as a process, an evolution. They're all seven separate chakras, but they all work together to get you to a certain level. Because the very way I went down, up, I can do the same thing. I can go from the crown down. That's what I talk about, right? I can explain the whole scenario from the crown down and come to the same conclusion. Because they represent certain principles. It's certain principles that are represented. So once you understand the principles, you can understand what to tap into at what time. So if you need courage, you tap into the solar plexus. If you need creativity, you tap into the sex chakra. If you need to be rooted in your foundations, your earthly presence, that's the root chakra. You know, if you need compassion, if you need that pure love, you need to reconnect with the source. Not the source, your pure essence, the heart chakra. You know, you want to speak with more conviction, more compassion. You know, people really feel your words. Throat chakra. Imagination, vivid imagination, third eye, your cosmic origins, crown chakra. That's all it is. You know, when you study it, that's just what it is. So, hopefully I explained it right. So, even if you at the bottom of the bottom, broke, nothing, no money in your pocket, no connections, no friends, hopefully I explain the process thoroughly so you at least have an understanding of, you just got to get out there and you got to make the shit happen for yourself. You don't expect a record label to call you. Don't expect, you know, somebody to give you something. You must be willing to take it. You know what I mean? You must be willing to do what's necessary for yourself and for what you represent. Once you connect to your cosmic origins, all this will make more sense because you will understand, oh, I come from this place. This is why I like these certain things. It's based on where you come from cosmically. Where you come from cosmically is the reason why you have certain interests. Simple as that. So all the musicians come from a certain place. All of the creators and the inventors come from a certain place, whether they know it or not. So because we have a full constellation system, when you connect all these things together, now you have the earth where you have many different people doing many different things based on who and what they are. That's why you can't be anything other than yourself. You can't try to do something you're not supposed to be doing because you're not built for that. There's a reason why you're 7 feet tall, or there's a reason why you're 4 feet tall. That's not an accident. That's not a mistake. Across the street. Right? There's a reason why you're the height you are. There's a reason why you're the skin color you are. It's not by accident. Everything, when you look at everything you are, it is for a reason. And that reason is because of where you come from. We all come from greatness. We just may forget. We bumped our heads like Dragon Ball Z. We the Gokus, right? We the Gokus. We bumped our fucking head. We forgot. And we didn't really have nobody else around to teach us the right way. So instead, we had to learn on our own. But that goes into Vegeta, you know? And I'll break it down like this. You got Goku, you got Vegeta. Goku had his memory erased. Vegeta had his memory intact. Vegeta was a savage. Goku was a human, mentally, right? However, Goku didn't evolve. Vegeta did. What do I mean by that? I'm not talking about Super Saiyan and all that stuff. Because eventually they got to the same level, right? Because this is the thing. This is the reason why I use Dragon Ball Z, because most people are familiar with the concept. If you're not, then it's these same concepts play out in everywhere, where you can go to Osiris and Set, right? Osiris and Set, Goku, Vegeta, you know, just look at anywhere. You got the good guy and the bad guy. It's the same thing. The good guy is the human, the bad guy is the savage, so whatever, right? But going back to Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta is the most evolved of them all. What do I mean? Because when you go from the first time he was introduced, he was savage. All he wanted to do is to kill Frieza because Frieza destroyed his planet, right? Frieza destroyed the planet of the Saiyans, right? So Vegeta had a determined idea to kill Frieza, but he was not strong enough. He ended up getting killed in the process of trying to kill Frieza. But even Goku didn't kill Frieza either, because Frieza killed himself, because he, you know, if y'all seen it, y'all know what I'm talking about. So Goku wasn't even powerful enough. Frieza destroyed himself because of his own madness. He ended up destroying himself eventually, right? Hold on. But going back to Vegeta, or just this concept as a whole, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at this concept. Yeah, because, my phone is here, 17%. So I'll leave it at this concept. I'm going to give this last example and then we'll get up out of here. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, watching, but let me finish up this concept. Now, hold on, let me finish this last concept. And if you have a question, I'll answer it real quick. Well, let me get this last point up. The reason I say Vegeta is the most evolved is because Goku never evolved. Goku basically was always trying to be human. So you can say the average spiritual person is trying to be more and more human. Oh, love and light, all this stuff, right? They're the Gokus. The Vegetas is the chaos beings, the ones that say, fuck society, I'm the rebel, I'm going against the grain. Goku was trying to go with the grain and trying to be friendly with everybody and, you know, love and light, all this stuff. However, Goku could not ever get past that, right? That's all he knew, and that's all he ever was. He was always Goku. Goku was essentially always Goku, right? But Vegeta evolved. He had true evolution. Because if you see his process throughout the series, you will see he went from a savage to an evolved being. What do I mean by that? Because he always looked at Goku, it's like a friendly rivalry. What do I mean by that? A friendly rivalry. Because Goku and Vegeta was the last of their kind. Everybody else was dead, right? The last, again, in the main series, now, yeah, if you go to branch off, you know, other people were introduced later on. But in the main series, Goku and Vegeta was always fighting. But what I mean by that is, eventually they had to fuse together, you know, in the Majin Buu series, right? They had to fuse together, become one person, right? In order to defeat Majin Buu. Also, Vegeta was possessed at one point by Majin Buu. Now, what does that mean? Let me sit down real quick. Vegeta was possessed. Remember when he had the M on his third eye? The 13th letter. He had the M on his third eye. Meaning, Vegeta went through all of that. He went from merging with Goku to being possessed to dying. You know, everything that a savage has to go through. He went through the most hardship of everybody else. But in the end, like everybody else, he survived. And that's the point. The point is, he survived. The savage got as far as Goku did. They both reached Super Saiyan 4 or however fuck. They both survived at the end. They both died, came back, so on and so forth, right? Vegeta didn't like, oh, because he's a savage, he's fucked up. He made it to the end like everybody else. That's it. That's the whole point. So for all the people who feel like you have to be a certain way and you have to do things a certain way and you have to follow a certain type of code, a certain type of format, just look at the Dragon Ball Z, look at Osiris and Set, look at all these energies. You're going to have the bad guy and you're going to have the good guy. And in most movies, the bad guy gets captured or dies, but specifically when it comes to Goku and Vegeta, they were the last two Saiyans. But Vegeta had his history intact. That's the only difference. Vegeta knew his history, whereas Goku didn't. Because Vegeta knew his history, he was able to make it to the end like everybody else. That's why when you come into contact with your cosmic origins, but with your real history, you can make it to the end. You can achieve things that other people cannot. You can do things that other people can't do because you know who you are. When you know who you are, everybody said that you gotta know who you are. How the fuck do you find out who you are? You gotta go up the chakras or go down the chakras, whichever fucking way you wanna go. Once you know who you are, you were able to do magical things. Because Vegeta knew who he was able to make it to the end. He was a fucking savage and had to be stopped at times, but he still made it to his destination, just like Goku did. So no matter if you're love and light, you're Goku, or you're Vegeta, you will make it to the end. You don't have to choose one or the other. It's just who you are. Accept your fucking fate. That's all I gotta say. Be the saint or be the chaos being and live with who and what you are. And get to the end. Evolve to your spiritual journey or your spiritual destination and live out your path. So with that being said, I don't think nothing else needs to be said there. I think that's complete enough. And, I'll get at y'all pretty soon. Y'all take care. Peace.